Hey guys, it's Cauliflower and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a video that was inspired by one of my favorite YouTubers here on YouTube, duh, Miss Kathleen Lights. So she did her favorite drugstore and not so favorite drugstore palettes. I'm going to be doing something very similar, and I'm also going to probably throw in a few quads as far as favorites and not favorites are concerned at the drugstore, the ones that are inexpensive. And I'm going to go a little bit beyond of what Kathleen did because she didn't want to incorporate certain other companies, but they are represented also in certain aspects of drugstore type pricing, and I'm talking about Ulta or of that nature. So let's get started, and I do have a couple more than just 5, so I didn't go top 5 or bottom 5. I'm just doing my top and bottom of what I think at the drugstore is worthwhile and not worth your while. All right, let's get started. So Kathleen talked about e.l.f., and I'm gonna go and jump on that bandwagon too with the e.l.f. Matte for Matte eyeshadow palette, but I'm gonna go for the one that is the Jewel Pop Tone because for me this is one of my favorite at the moment drugstore palettes, and once I can get it open I will show you why. Okay, these colors are just amazing, and they are just something that e.l.f. has done before, either in quads or in singles, and just never got the right formula. But this palette, they definitely did hit the mark on it, and now you can get these very cheap. I know that they offered them one point for 10 bucks. I think you can get them for like $5 now on their website. Maybe a little bit cheaper. I don't know what Ulta has them for, or CVS or anything else like that. But for me, I got it for $5 and it was worth it. It would have been worth it at 10 because these colors are amazing. They're all mattes and they are the beautiful colors that you want, the jewel type colors that you want to try, that you want to use. I especially, because I'm such into the oranges these days, but look at that. Look at the pigmentation on that. And the way that you see it swatched here, it also goes on your eyes. So definitely, I would say pick this one up. All right, another brand I've talked about on my channel quite a bit, you know, in earlier videos, probably about a year or two, is LA Girl. And these in particular, and like I said, I'm including quads in this because I don't have a lot of palettes in the drugstore, but I do have tons and tons of quads. These guys from LA Girl, the iLux set, I love these. Now, I have mine in Urbanize and Tranquilize. There's a few others out there that weren't so great. I know there is a purple one, and I think there's a another one that's like sort of like just a pinky tone, but these two have been my favorites. This one especially in Tranquilize because of this color right here, this beautiful, beautiful blue, which kind of matches my ring as we see, but it is so gorgeous. And yeah, maybe it doesn't look as pigmented on my hand right now, but you can definitely build it up and it stays on your eyes. And I really want to say that I think I would compare these to Wet n Wild. I think these are just as good. I love what they choose as far as like the color combinations. When they give you like a caramel, they give you like a taupe, then they give you like that champagne color, then a nice dark brown. It's all very cohesive. It goes together just like this does. And these are very, very inexpensive. So definitely a pickup from the drugstore if you're looking for something inexpensive and in this type of a setting. All right. Now, I don't normally like this company. I have said this 1,000 times about their makeup and just in general as a whole. I'm not a fan of CoverGirl. I really have learned that over the years that I don't like CoverGirl, but I do like some of their palettes that they have come out with. And this one in particular, and I probably got the wrong one, but this one I do like. Kathleen kind of went the other way. I'm going this way. It's the CoverGirl True Naked. Now this one is in roses. This is not my favorite one. The one that I love is the jewel tone one. It has the blues, the greens. It's gorgeous. I actually did an Instagram look on it a few years ago because it was just so pretty and I was so impressed that it came from CoverGirl, because normally for me, CoverGirl is like, what? They just don't know how to properly formulate eyeshadows. There, I said it. But they get away with this one. This one's not this great, wonderful palette, but I've used it enough to appreciate it. And I think if you're looking for something in the area of these types of colors, you can get away with picking this up at the drugstore. It's pretty inexpensive, and they have a nice array here. Again, this was going on the predication of Urban Decay and Naked and all that stuff. I've come to get over all of those palettes, but again, if you like these combinations and these colors, CoverGirl did okay with that. All right, and now I'm gonna go into probably the non sequitur of drugstores. We're gonna go into what's available at Ulta, and one of my favorite brands, because I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with the gurus, it just has to do with the fact that I like them, is Morphe. And one of the things that I really appreciate that they did is they made these smaller type palettes. This is it just says Jewel Crew. The Jewel Crew palettes that they came out with earlier this year, and I have mine in 9C. This is what it looks like. It comes with a mirror, and there are the colors right there. And I love this palette. It gives you a little bit more variety than your normal palette, drugstore type of a palette. Gives you a really beautiful, beautiful gold tone shimmer right there that can go on the lid on its own or over any of these other beautiful colors. They give you these rich, darker colors, then they give you these at the bottom. It's a nice, nice palette. It's something that you can just throw into your purse when you're traveling. I almost dropped it, and it's very inexpensive. Morphe to me is really, honestly, probably the most inexpensive out there, secondary to this other one I'm going to mention when I bring it out. But now that it's available at Ulta, you can get these instead of having to go on the Morphe websites and use code, you know, ... You can just pick it up at Ulta and you can use your reward points. That's what I do. But it's a great palette. The other company I'm going to talk about that is also featured at Ulta is BH Cosmetics. And BH Cosmetics and me have a long, long relationship. I still have so many BH Cosmetics palettes in my collection because they're just amazing. And I think they don't get enough clout. They don't get enough recognition here on YouTube. BH Cosmetics has been around for the longest time, and they are very similar to e.l.f. in certain aspects of they put out really nice products, but they're a lot cheaper. But they stepped up their game. And one of my favorite palettes recently is the Festival palette from them, the Weekend Festival palette. This is my favorite summer go-to. I have talked about it already enough. You'll see this in probably a couple of other videos coming up, but it's just an amazing, amazing array of colors. Everything you could ever want for the summer. You've got your pinks, your blues, your purples, your golds, your jewel tones, your shimmers, everything that you could ever want to put on your eyes for just fun colors, fun looks, and it's very, very inexpensive. Again, you can pick it up at Ulta. So it may be a little bit more than your normal drugstore price, but nowadays drugstores are getting a little ridiculous with their pricing, and I'll get to some of those in a bit, but definitely one of my favorites. All right, the next one I'm going to call on is a company that makes some really bad palettes, and I have had a few of those. But then they come out with really, really good ones. And Kathleen made this point in her video as well as far as NYX Cosmetics is concerned. This is one of my all-time favorites by them. And I got this at Ulta on clearance. This, I think, went for like $18. This is their Contour Intuitive. It's more of a face palette because you get the highlight, you get a nice blush here, you get 2 highlights, but then you get these 6 colors. Now, they may not look like much in the pan, but on my eyes, they look astonishing. And I don't use that term very often when it comes to NYX because NYX, again, can be hit or miss. I love these 2 colors right here. Now, again, they may appear chalky. They may not look amazing as in swatches right now. And it's also the glare on my ring light if I turn this down a little bit. But it looks like nothing in the pan. I love this color right here. I really do. Really. Look at that. The pigmentation on that is just amazing. And like I said, this is a really great face palette. So you get 2 highlighters, you get the blush. And Ulta had this on clearance, so I paid like $3 or $4 for it. It was definitely a steal and a find. And if you see this anywhere NYX is sold and it's on clearance, pick it up. It's really worth it. Like I said, NYX is hit or miss. I do agree with Kathleen Lights on that subject. Okay, and the last palette, drugstore-wise, that I've seen in drugstores, and of course in Ulta as well, and they don't get talked about enough, is NYX Cosmetics. This eyeshadow palette is in Beautiful Sin. I have so many different sleek eyeshadow palettes, but this is what this looks like. And again, you're getting jewel tones, you're getting some mattes, you're getting some shimmers, but for me, I like a variety. I like all sorts of varieties. I like the metallics. I want the jewel tones. I want the mattes. I don't just want strictly all of one thing, but if I do, I want an array of different colors, not the same scheme, not the same color show. And in this, you're getting everything. You're getting neutrals, you're getting jewels, you're getting shimmers, you're getting some warms, some cools. And the pigmentation on these is amazing as well. And sleek is not talked about a lot. It really, really isn't. And they're very inexpensive. These guys are like $6 a palette. They are really, really great. And I think that they can pass off as drugstore. I think more drugstores should hold this particular brand, maybe take out a few other brands that are not working very well and sneak in sleek, because I think they're amazing. All right, now it's what you've been waiting for. It's the ones that I don't think are so great at the drugstore that I really think sometimes, as much as we want them to work, they just don't work. And I have quite a few here. Some I've talked about, some I have not talked about. We're gonna start with quads to be fair to the equal of the LA girl. I'm gonna go for Wet n Wild, and I know, pause for the tomatoes that are going to be thrown at me. But Wet n Wild, Wet n Wild. I know that their new formula color icon palettes, a lot of people like them. I, however, do not. I think that this is a completely different formula than what they are normally known for. And I have tons. I have every single quad and palette they put out before they decided to reformulate and repackage. I think they should have left good enough alone. It was perfect the way it was. I just don't like the way they reformulated. I don't. It just, in the pan, maybe it swatches nicely, but on my eyes, it disappears like immediately. I don't know what happened, and this dark color right here is just so smoggy looking, and not in a good way, not in a smoky kind of like sexy eye look kind of way. It's in that smoggy, dirty, kind of gets all over your eye and kind of just messes up your look way. And I'm sorry, Wet n Wild, I just don't like it. And the other thing I wish they would stop doing these is their Wet n Wild Color Icon eyeshadow trios. These are the cheaper ones. They just, I don't know. They come out with these every so often. They'll have like limited edition ones. I think this might be a limited edition one. And they'll have like crazy colors or different types of seasonal hues that fit the season, but you know, I just wish they would just stick to what they're good with, because these are just cheap. They're cheap, they're chalky, they don't look good, and I end up always throwing them in my decluttering. So please, Wet n Wild, can you stick to what you know, not these guys. All right, I have spoken about this particular little palette, whatever you want to call it, in a not so favorites video. I'm going to talk about it again. It's from Physicians Formula, because Physicians Formula is known for their shimmer strips and all of those other types of palettes at the drugstore, but they also have these. They slip in every now and again. Physicians Formula, you sly dog. But this one sucks. Don't get this. This is absolutely unnecessary. First of all, and I'm just so upset about it. All right, I like the fact that it stands up and everything, but it's got 3 different shades of white. Why? We don't need the 3 different shades of white. We got this like pale as, you know, Edward right there. I mean, this is like pale as my shirt, pale ghosty white. Then we got your, I'm trying to be an inner corner color, but I just don't look that way when I have it on because I dissipate. Like, where did I go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? And then you got this, like, I think I'm a bone color, but not really. And I'm pretty chalky, and yeah. No, like, I really just don't get this palette. Then you have this really beautiful, beautiful, like, goldish right here that is so disappointing because it's just so freaking chalky. You don't, I kind of picked up the brown there, but you don't see it. It's just, it's a fail. It's a big fail. If you see this in your drugstore, whichever drugstore you buy Physicians Formula, nope, nope, just walk away, back away slowly. and pick up something else. All right. My next one is unfortunately something that I enjoy so immensely. So many other products that they make, but unfortunately for this one, Katrice, not so much. This is their Modern Matte collection. They came out with a bunch of these. Kathleen talked about the copper ones, and I have to disagree with her because when it comes down to ones that suck, this one takes the cake. These are just boring. They're flat, they're boring, they're chalky. They don't stay on the eye. I barely can get a good swatch out of them. And if I do get a good swatch out of them, it's only because I have like an oil on my arm, so it's making everything look darker. They don't stay on. I'm disappointed because some of these are really, really pretty colors. I do like this inner corner color, but it's very chalky. Again, why do we need this white chocoholic looking thing on our eyes? And what am I talking about? It disappears. So no, you ain't the one I like, Katrice, and no, not at all. All right, the next one is from my good, I don't know what I'm trying to lead into, but I love Drew Barrymore. I grew up with Drew Barrymore, and I love her makeup line, Flower Beauty, but I hate this particular palette. This particular palette is such a disappointment, and the other thing about this palette is the freaking money I paid for it, because this was like 13 bucks. And I know you can get this at Walmart, and now it's at Ulta, and maybe it'll be available in other places, maybe other drugstores, I don't know. But the thing is with this palette is it just falls flat. It just falls flat. It comes with a brush and everything. It's got like 4 different shimmers almost of the same type of a color, like these right here. Like, why is that necessary? And the rest of it is all dark of the same type of hue. Like you get the same, you get a darker plum, you get sort of a mid plum, then you get the shimmery plum and the glittery one, and then you get this like muddy color over here, which doesn't work. It's a very incoherent palette, and it's very disappointing. This is not something I suggest you pick up, so don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. And now I go to another company that I love so much in so many different palettes, but this is such a dud that I had to throw it in there. And again, you can get them at Ulta. This is Makeup Revolution. This is their Redemption eyeshadow. No, Makeup Revolution. In fact, you need to redeem yourself after this palette, because why? Why do we want to make these thin Post-it notes looking palettes? You know what I'm talking about? Not your fat normal Post-it notes, but like the really thin ones that really have no use. Like, what are we doing with those? But anyway, that's what this reminds me of. And the colors in here, again, we've got the shimmery dark green, then we've got the matte dark green, then we've got the shimmery rose, then we've got the dark rose. It's like I need a shimmer brother to the matte sister. I don't get that. But the pigmentation on these, no bueno. They may look okay, but here we go to Chalkland City. There's so many other Makeup Revolution palettes that you can pick up that are just amazing, and even less money than this one. I think this one was probably about, I don't know, maybe $7. Some of their other ones, they have ones for $5, they have ones for $9, they have ones that are all in different prices, but this one just is junk. Don't get this, it's junk. Okay, and the last palette I'm going to talk about is another tried and true company that is hit or miss with a lot of different products, but and Kathleen mentioned this in her video. I'm going to mention it in mine. I agree completely, Kathleen, with L'Oreal La Palette Nude 1. No. I'm over the whole let's dupe Urban Decay because, you know, we need to. But again, these are very underwhelming. These are chalky. These are not of the standard quality you want L'Oreal to be in. They make great face products. They do. They're amazing in so many different things. And I know they're a huge Uber company that has bought so many other cosmetic companies. But L'Oreal, if you're going to make your brand L'Oreal. This is not doing it for you. This is not cutting it. If you see this and you think, oh, it's a drugstore palette, let me give it a shot because it's not the Urban Decay $54 one. No, it's not. But there are so many different ones out there by other brands that do it so much better than L'Oreal ever did. And just go buy this one. And I don't mean buy it. I mean just go buy. Like, Bye-bye. See you, like, now. Bye. Okay, that is it for my top and my bottom in drugstore palettes. Let me know what you guys think of any of these palettes, if you've ever tried them, if you haven't tried them, if you have an opinion. Leave it there below. I will catch you guys very, very soon in my next one. I don't even know what I'm doing.